Those are the things I feel like that
struggled
derailed
through that.
the story. That derailed it.
Yes, because it really, I struggled with trying to figure out who this film was for. Is this meant to? So, I'm gonna be a comparative person. That's not fair of me.
You're gonna say it's bun me.
But I'm going to. Yeah.
Boon me.
Boon me.
So fired.
It's all good.
I just lost my job here, and somebody's replacing me
Not
at
at
Check
all.
the Gate.
You just got a raise. Hey, Gretchen.
Hey, Martin.
We are back with another episode of the Check the Gate podcast, the podcast where Gretchen and I watch a movie, and then we go to talk about it, but we never know where it's going to go. But I have a pretty good idea where this one's going to go.
Wow. You're already feeling glass half full.
I'm going to be a little spicy on this
That's
one.
all right.
I'm going to have some preconditions that I set up for both myself and the listeners and all this, as well as anybody who might hire me in the future with this one.
Don't judge me for my film selection. This
Yeah.
was a recommendation.
I want everyone to know that I am a skilled editor, and all of the things that you don't see on here are the things where I got super spicy and cut them out. Yeah.
Or we
it's not going
ramble
to be
too
that
much.
bad. Yeah. So we are going to be talking about the 2006 Tarsim Singh feature film, The Fall.
It's gorgeous.
All right, everyone. That was a great episode. And it's...
So I have been wanting to watch this film for so long.
I have been too. This was my pick. I wanted to see it.
I thought it was beautiful. I mean, all the posters, art for it is this just kind of looks like a Salvador Dali painting. It just looked like it was going to be something that I was going to be 100% in my wheelhouse. And I missed seeing in the theaters because I think my kid was pretty little or whatever. Or I might have whatever. I didn't spend much time in a theater here for whatever reason. And I love the director. I like his other film. I like The Cell a lot.
Yeah.
It was pretty much one of those films that I thought it was incredibly groundbreaking and gorgeous.
It's gorgeous. It's so beautiful.
When I think back on it, there are so many moments in that film that are just really bring out the horrifying beauty of the subject.
Yes.
Yes.
It's the horrifying beauty of the character inside of us.
Yeah.
Vincent D'Onofrio's performance in that is magnificent.
Well, this is also back in his day when he was every character was a transformation for him.
Yes.
I mean, not to go too far off from The Fall, but
nope, this is all part of it.
And I feel like we should talk about The Cell at some point, but
yeah.
In that era of films that I've seen him in, everywhere from Full Metal Jacket to The Cell to Edgar, Edgar suit.
Edgar still at this day with the Edgar suit. Still to this day, that is something that I can just laugh out loud about.
And it's just he was such a good. Is that considered a character actor? I don't really know if that means he's a character actor because even as him playing Kingpin in Daredevil is now it's a tone down because he was on wasn't he on a Law and Order or something like that?
Yeah, he was on Law and Order for years.
His character, his acting has kind of baselined now. I haven't seen anything completely revolutionary. I mean, I would say that Kingpin has a lot of depth and interest to him, but he's just good at being a villain.
Well, our last episode, we talked about Darren Aronofsky's film Pi, and right now out in theaters is Darren Aronofsky's film Caught Stealing, which has Vincent D'Onofrio in it as part of the Hasidic Jewish mob. With Liev Schreiber.
Wow. I need to go see that movie.
Circle.
Yeah. Wow.
We're coming a full circle. Yeah.
We do this unintentionally, honestly.
It wasn't intentional. Not at all.
Yeah.
But it happened.
That happens. Well, and I think that the film industry in general is pretty incestuous in and of itself.
Yeah. Well, they can come find me anytime.
Right.
I'll join the party.
So back to the fall, though.
The fall. Yes. Well, this was my pick. And I did pick it because I remember watching The Cell and being in love with how beautiful it was and really enjoying. There was so much to love about that film, but there was parts where I felt that the film stumbled. Which was unfortunate because it was so beautiful and so captivating and performances were so good. To be honest, a lot of what I thought was kind of a stumble in there was the Vince Vaughn character and performance and the Vincent through
D'Onofrio.
arc with him. No, Vincent D'Onofrio is great.
Vince Vaughn. I forgot that he was even in that Ding Dang movie.
Yeah, Vince Vaughn and Jennifer Lopez.
That's right.
Yeah, so it's the Vince Vaughn Jennifer Lopez relationship that just never lands well with me. I think she's good, bordering on great.
I thought she was stilted in that, personally.
You think she was what?
Pretty stilted acting in that.
But she was good.
Yeah.
She hadn't really. I don't think she had really found herself yet. But it was like there were moments where it was like, man, there's a great Jennifer Lopez that's kind of in there. I didn't think the Vincent D'Onofrio, or not Vincent D'Onofrio, but the Vince Vaughn stuff worked for me. He just didn't feel like the right guy.
No, and he has like a certain caliber of thing that he does. And when he doesn't
He's
get to
always Vince Vaughn.
But when he doesn't get to be Vince Vaughn, he doesn't do a very good job.
Yes. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Season 2 of True Detective, it kind of was the same way with that one where it's just like it's, and that's not meant to be a dig on Vince Vaughn. And especially since his intention is to go outside of the places where people expect him to be. And he is definitely in there to do it. Like, he is trying, and that's probably ends up then not really being any type of a fault for him for his choices or what he does, but my own expectations of wanting to see him perform for me, and so that becomes a failure as a fan or an audience person.
I really liked him as Norman Bates, though.
Ooh. I never saw that shot-for-shot remake that was done.
It was so good. He was so good.
Yeah,
he was a good Norman Bates. A good Norman Bates. Like, he brought Norman Bates to Norman was pretty creepy. Anthony Perkins was really creepy. But Vincent D'Onofrio put it into like a even more like kind of filthy.
Yeah.
Like version that made me feel like, like more kind of gross and even more of a little more intense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. That will be one I should have.
We should do a remakes episode.
Oh, that would be great. I would love to do that.
Yeah.
That would be fun.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
Like, fun thing to mess around
with.
And
I don't, there was just something about that where, I don't know, it became a personal choice, which is not fair or right for me to have just said, I didn't need to see this, but it's like, it's 2 hours, man, get in there and do it, for these folks putting it, because I think Julianne Moore is in that one as well. Which
pretty forgettable, apparently.
Yeah. So, but
sad but true.
Yeah, it had a cast and obviously a director that were all very accomplished people that were just trying to try something interesting.
Yeah, I think what for me makes a Tarsem Singh film is that he picks the best RIP costume designer, Aiko Ishida. She is a fashion designer, or was a fashion designer. She's passed away. She was born in 1938 and she died in 2012. But she has many accommodations. Actually, for the fall, she got a posthumous award for her costume design in this. Every time he uses her, she has such a distinct vision that her choices of costuming are these almost like tableaus. And I feel like that's what the one thing that is always I can look forward to in one of his films is that there will be these lush gorgeous tableaus of costuming with backdrop and scenic sweeping storytelling, like story or fairy tale like imagery. That's what I always expect to see.
Yeah.
I mean, Mirror Mirror wasn't bad, right?
I haven't seen Mirror Mirror. He did Immortals after this one.
It was comedy. I think Immortals was unfortunately forgettable for me. But she worked on The Cell, The Fall, and she also worked on Dracula.
On Bram Stoker's with Francis Ford Coppola, which we had talked a little bit about before with Tom Sanders that I had worked with.
That costume with the armor, that is, you can see that and repeated in her other works. Like as far as that design, that attention to fantastical and almost like phantasmagorical in a lot of ways, especially in The Cell, like with those grandiose like dragon attire and the long flowing like gowns and capes and like the giant pants and the sweeping arch. I mean, incredible. Incredible.
There's something about her eye where she's able to play off of the particular, but it's about how she plays off of the particular anatomy of a character, of a person who's portraying a character. Everything seems so personal and intentional, and it doesn't seem like it's like where she has it where it's like, I like to do this thing, and then I'm going to figure out how this person fits into that and make a version of that fits, as opposed to this person is portraying this character, and this is the thing that makes this, and it's this anatomy and this performance, and this is a magnificently beautiful film.
Yeah, I think it's one of the saving graces of this film, I hate to say. But I'll let you carry this story. This is your pick.
Yeah, I am admittedly gonna be a little spicy about the storytelling on some of this one. This film was not made for me. And that's kind of my general rule for myself moving forward, is to not take something and say that I didn't like it, therefore it wasn't good, or therefore they failed in some way. And that's there might have been a time when I was like that, but now it's like, it's just not made for me. And it doesn't have to be even made for anyone. It could be made for that person. Tar Simpson got to make this film. It was a $30 million budget. This film was literally 20 years in the making. He tried for 20 years to get this film off the ground. He spent 17 years finding the locations. This film was all shot on locations. It was never shot on sound stages. They never built any of the sets for anything. It was all shot in real locations. Yeah, and apparently there is no digital green screen. There is digital imagery stuff that is done, and there's like color change and that, but there's no green screened film where they created fake environments. It's all real environments. It's all real costumes, real sets, optical illusions and various things after that. So yeah, but so I'll kind of set the stage for what this film is about, and we'll kind of get into the story on all of this, and then some of my, like, the places where it doesn't really stick the landing for me. But the premise of this is that there is a very young girl who is in a hospital, and this is in the 1930s. She's hurt her arm, and she's in a hospital, and she's bored being cared for. She has to stay in there because of how the injury is in the current state of the medical world at that time.
Right.
And she visits Roy, who is Lee Pace, played by a very young Lee Pace. You can just barely see the beginnings of Thranduil from The Hobbit in there. Yeah, sorry, I'm digging into my little Hobbit lore there.
No, I felt the same way. When I first saw this, I was like, oh my God, it's Legolas' dad.
Yeah.
And he's also Ronan the Accuser.
He is Ronan the Accuser, yes. He is great as Ronan the Accuser.
I also recently saw him in The Foundation, and he is the the Galactic Emperor.
Is he? I haven't seen
the Galactic Emperor in The Foundation.
Oh, okay, lots of people. Keep telling me to watch
Isaac
Foundation.
Asimov. It's very slow, but it's so pretty.
Yeah,
it's so pretty.
Good. Well, I'll have to dive into that one. Yeah. So, well, what we end up finding out later is that he is a stuntman who has just gone through a terrible breakup with someone. His girlfriend has left him for an actor. And he tried to commit suicide by taking his horse off of a train trestle and jumping both of them off of that. And the horse dies, but he doesn't. He ends up having a traumatic spinal injury that causes him to be a paraplegic, and he's kind of stuck in a bed. So that unravels eventually, that we find out those things about him. We actually start the whole film with some people down in the water, and they've are fishing a horse out, we don't know why. And we eventually lead up to that. But so he's bedridden, and this young girl who is born in the hospital visits him, and he begins to tell her stories. And part of that is to win her over so that she will sneak out at night and go and get drugs for him. What she thinks is going to help him to sleep, but it's actually for him to try to unalive himself because his train trestle attempt didn't work. So now he's going to go, and now things are even worse. Not only is he broken up with his girlfriend, but now he is also paralyzed. So
and he killed a horse.
So he's trying to figure out a way to do that. So in that, he is winning the admiration and the trust of a young girl that he is then sending out at night to break into the pharmacy and steal him stuff to go. So and then from there, what we do is, so we have these parallel stories between what has happened with him and his journey of trying to figure himself out and not be such a terrible person who is manipulating this little girl, while we are also learning the tale of a bandit who has taken up in league with a person that he calls an Indian, but does a lot of describing as if this person were a Native American indigenous person in North America, but they actually are a person who is from India. And then we have a Spaniard who speaks the whole time in a Russian accent, who that person is like a ballistics person. Our person from India is a swordsman. We have a person who is from the African continent who is an archer. And then we have a crazy mystic talisman who is birthed out of a burning tree, who is meant to help them along in their journey of all of this. But he's basically making up a story to entertain this girl. So that's kind of what happens, is he starts to tell the story. And so the film is actually him telling this story and just kind of making it up as he goes. So the story is always fluctuating between who we have as a character and this little girl, sometimes actually interrupting and coming in and saying, well, wait a minute, I thought you said this part. Or so it's a little bit Princess Bride. It's a little bit
Munchausen, Baron Munchausen.
Baron Munchausen. That's a good one.
I was thinking Adventures of Baron Munchausen is what this reminds me of.
I was thinking, I obviously had a little bit of Princess Bride, but I was also thinking a lot about Guillermo del Toro's Pan's Labyrinth. Because we had these parallels between the reality of what's happening in Franco-fascist Spain, and then we've got this young girl who lives this fantastical imaginary fairy life underneath, and is she trying to get back? She becomes a product of the unfortunate situation with the Franco-fascists, but then we get to see the happy ending of her becoming. That's a film we will have to talk about at some point in time, and it might be my film redemption.
You don't have to redeem yours, so this isn't that bad. Come on.
Pan's Labyrinth, though, is like literally, it like bounces back and forth between like film number 1, film number 2.
Oh, nice.
For me.
Nice.
Yeah, it's one of the greatest things that's ever happened to me. So when I see then those parallels, and especially even with the Princess Bride being a person who just absolutely adores Princess Bride with every cell in my body, I start to set myself up for not allowing something like The Fall to be its own version of what it wants to be. So,
well, I mean, technically, it's not its own version of what it's supposed to be.
it is not, because I read that same thing. You want to talk about where that had come from? Because you would think something that was 20 years in the making and 17 years of location scouting and on 28 different nations, they would have been able to pull something together. But it turns out.
Well, I thought it was from a book, right? And so I was doing a little research and then came to discover it was actually almost... we're going to say very heavily based on a Bulgarian film by, I want to say his name is Zako Heshkia. Sorry to anybody who speaks Bulgarian. I just ruined this. But the movie is called Yo Ho Ho. And it's kind of a little boy who meets a man who's a stunt actor who gets hurt.
Yeah.
And so I mean, everything else like is completely like the movie from my understanding, not as probably as lavish, or the story is probably different, but it is the same synopsis essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is wild. But I mean, I guess that movie didn't make it anywhere. So I think it's pretty old from my understanding.
Sure.
Yeah. So, I mean,
this film didn't do very well either.
No, it didn't. It clearly didn't stay in the box office or the theaters very long. But
no, it did not.
I just think so. I have to kind of go back to the beginning. There was that scene, that slow motion scene of like them fishing a horse out of the water, and this is also, again, like it's shot in a pace, like a very slow pace. There were elements of this that I was like, wow, this is gorgeous. But then the story wasn't holding me. The acting wasn't holding me. And unfortunately, Pace isn't doing not a very good job in this. But I think this might just been because this is kind of his beginnings of his career, or like a filmmaking career, maybe.
Well, he's a couple films into it.
Oh,
well, and
maybe it's just based on script.
The Cell was before this, so.
Oh, well, yeah. Or no, I mean Lee Pace though.
Oh, for Lee Pace.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was
he was
an early one for Lee Pace. Yes.
Because he had these moments of like, he was delivering his lines as okay, so he was playing multiple characters.
There's that little southern drawl in the hospital.
Hurts my feelings every time. It's for me, I'm a Southerner, and I mean, as you probably can hear, I don't have like a crazy accent. I mean, my accent's very subtle. If I have a few drinks in me, it's a little more
when
subtle.
you're a little spicy and you say y'all, like you can hear it in there.
But that's what a true Southern accent is supposed to sound like.
Right.
Now there's a country accent, sure. But like I feel, wow. See? Wow. I feel that it always hurts my feelings when I hear a bad Southern accent. I think I was watching a movie last night with my Valentine, and there was somebody talking in a terrible, terrible Southern accent. I was like, wow. It is. Why do they have to be Southern? Like, can't they just be like whatever region they are?
Yeah.
Like, just stop. But yes, it takes me out of the moment. And then he has to do the other accent that he is the swashbuckler character.
Right, because
bandit.
he switches with the bandit, because we have a character who is the bandit, the person that has the gap teeth, which is kind of part of that, who is wearing the mask.
Right.
And that's kind of happening. And that person, even though they're not a Spaniard, they have a Spanish accent to them. Our Spaniard has the Russian accent. So we're with our bandit who has the red mask. But then, it flip-flops, and then it becomes Lee Pace in the mask as that character. And
because, well, I think that was intentional to the point of this is supposed to be because this is the little girl's world.
Right, exactly.
And so these people are all the people that she's seeing in the hospital. And so they are her world. And so she's transposing those characters into these characters.
Right, because I'm just realizing the other person that I missed in there was Charles Darwin, who was one of the nurse staff that was in there.
Yes.
And then the joke on Wallace, where he's got the monkey Wallace that is always kind of in the bag with him and does little things. So that's a dig on Wallace, who was the originator of the origin of species idea and evolution that Charles Darwin stole.
So there are these very thoughtful. And again, like I was saying earlier, like these tableaus of like beautiful scenery and set, and I just can't understand why it doesn't come together. It just feels so not messy because the imagery is so precise.
Yeah. It's extremely intentional.
Quite honestly,
it's so
if
intentional.
this was just a bunch of, I would watch this film if it was completely silent and we're just watching these beautiful, sweeping, like interactions of characters and these fantastic costumes in these spectacular settings with Symphony Number 7, Opus like 9211 Allegretto from Ludwig van Beethoven playing, which by the way is like one of my favorite pieces. So I'm like, every time I hear it, I'm like, I know that piece. I know that piece. It's Symphony Number 7. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it plays perfectly into that scene with the horse, them fishing the horse out, because it has those sweeping orchestral like movements in the concerto or symphony that it feels organic to what's happening on the screen. I could watch a whole movie like that. Honestly, I mean, it would need to not be 2 hours.
Yeah.
Let me be real. I didn't make it through Shutter Island any single time I've tried to watch it. So
I didn't know that.
So bad. So bad. That one and Hamlet. I've never told you the movies that put me to sleep are Hamlet, Shutter Island, and Inception. I like those 3 movies.
Which Hamlet? The
Mel Gibson one. Every time. Every single time.
I've never made it through that film either. It's like it
is like
it's the ultimate arrogant puff piece for somebody. It
makes me so sleepy every single time I watch that. So yeah,
he's not a good person, so it works out. Yeah,
right? It works out. But no, those are the. I would watch that film, not 2 hours long.
Yeah.
I thought there was really the idea being that like stories and myths and legends and magic are like the living history of humanity, right? Mm-hmm. So that is what makes me so sad, because it has the potential there. It's just so slow at points when it doesn't need to be slow. We have too much exposition in areas that we don't necessarily need information on. Like there was some completely unnecessary story aspects that we could have been without. They could have trimmed a good 30 minutes of like ridiculous behind the scene like exposition. Like I didn't need to have that scene with the actor and the girlfriend showing up at the hospital,
right? And
the stuff with the nurses all like being like, he's so cute.
And the thing is, while that's happening, there's also exposition happening behind that's kind of like trying to explain more of the story or fill in other things. But then we're watching the little girl who's interacting with this stuff, and it's like, so which one am I paying attention to?
Yes.
And why is this stuff? There was
those are the things I feel like that
struggled
derailed the
absolutely.
Story. That derailed it.
Yes, because it really I struggled with trying to figure out who this film was for. Is this meant to? So I'm going to be a comparative person. That's not fair of me.
You're to say it's bun me.
But I'm going to. Boon me.
So fired.
It's all good.
I just lost my job here. Somebody's replacing me to check the gate.
You just got a raise. So if I go back to Pan's Labyrinth, that is an R-rated film. It has graphic violence in it. It is intended for a very particular audience. Yeah. It's not made for 12-year-old kids. It's made for adults. It has very adult stories when it talks about the Franco-fascists and the rebellion that's going against them, when it's talking about, but it's dealing with fairy tales. Yes. We have this underlying fairy tale story that is pulled into there throughout the whole thing. We continue to see Pan, who is sending out this girl on these little missions. She's clearly crossing over into different worlds that are not the current world of the fascism.
It's escape.
In there.
It's internal escape.
Right. So is it internal escape? Is it really happening? Like, are are there these other dimensions and she's able to cross over? Like, so there is this place of like, is it her escaping and this is a fictional friend? Is this a real thing and she's truly a princess to a world that we don't see?
Not alive anymore.
She's not alive. So there's all, and it's constructed and organized in a way where the execution allows you to have, it's got this right pacing and keeps going, especially with us following. We've got the rebels and we've got the woman who is the maid inside of that general's compound there. So we're kind of following her story. So we have these pieces and they make sense. And I've said this before, films are a miracle that they're ever made. They're so difficult and they're so complicated. And if he had been stewing on this thing for like 20 years trying to make it, it could very well be that he got lost in the idea of the imagery and the locations and all of this stuff, and then didn't see the pieces of the story, because there's times where it's like, especially as we start to get toward the end, and it's like, this is really violent and horrible when we watch the mystic die, when we watch the archer die. Like, that guy takes a dozen arrows in the back and then falls on him like a bed of nails, and his body is suspended on all of these arrows.
It's so beautiful.
It's beautiful.
It looks like a tarot card.
It's beautiful, but it's like, but I'm like, I don't know what the point is. Like, are
That's
you
the
trying
problem I'm having with this.
Right. Like, does this mean something to one of us or any of us? Like, what is this an allegory? Because whatever the allegory is, it's lost on me. And that's the thing, is it becomes beautiful without intention.
That's what I mean. I could watch this without words, and I think that it would be more effective of a film. Honestly, if you cut out the little girl aspect, even if you leave her in, cut out like the 30 minutes of those weird exposition stuff that's like unnecessary. Yeah, trimming this down and then taking away the sound, and then just putting a beautiful score into it, I think would have done it like a service. For sure. Because there's those scenes like the whirling dervishes, the people that are doing. Have you seen Baccarat?
Yes, I own Baccarat.
So that like scene where they're like like that. I thought like those kinds of things were so cool and so thoughtful. I was like, wow, we're trying to portray this like spiritual energy, and I was like, I'm here for this. Right. But you're not delivering anything. Right. This is a beautiful package that has nothing inside of it.
Yes, it is all style and no substance. And I realize I just kind of said some two conflicting things, so I want to make sure that I clarify those, because earlier I had said this film is very intentional, but then it doesn't have intention. So what I meant earlier is it's very intentional, because every single one of these locations, every costume, every one of these people standing where they are, every action that's happening,
tableau.
It is all very intentional. But then where I had said it doesn't have intention is that it's hard to tell. It's like, is this a metaphor for something? Is this connecting to something? Did you have a setup that has a payoff? Like, because those were the things that were missing. Those intentions were lost on me. I couldn't make these connections beyond the place of like them standing there and going, this just looks so gorgeous. How can I not shoot it this way? And it's like, great. But
right.
and that became the struggle for me with this one. And the performances, like we had said,
they're pretty stale.
Yep.
I mean, unfortunately, this cast is pretty mid.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's
at best.
In 2006, also, this is not the film to be putting out in 2006.
Right.
I think that if this, and I hate remakes. I mean, because we joked about making a remake episode, but I feel like with the reboot culture as it is, this would benefit from a recasting, maybe, or like the cast being older and more sophisticated, I guess. Because I just think that there is, like we've said multiple times, it is beautiful, and there were concepts that you could, mileage may vary, like read into, like I saw when the guy fell on I was like, oh, it looks like a tarot card. Yeah. And then, the scene where he's talking to the princess and she's wearing her little like pink tulip or lotus.
The one that opens, that was amazing.
Like, how?
And I didn't see that coming. When she did that, when she opened that, I was like, holy fuck, that was cool.
those are the things, like, I mean, honestly, like, Aiko, like, or she, or
well, and there was that one, she had a costume, like a couple of scenes before that one too, where we see her from behind and it looks like it has these great horns off of it with these tassels on it. And there's kind of a face guard on that one as well. And it looks like all this pearl. And I looked at that and it was like, that looks like the characters that were in Denis Villeneuve's Dune 2 when they were on shoot, I'm spacing it off there, but it was Gidi Prime. They're on Gidi Prime, and there's the whole thing that's happening with Ruatha out in there, and they had kind of like these like arena guardians that were out there that had these black bodysuits with these big headpieces and no faces, and I was like, holy cow! It was like almost that like. Singh did it first. Tarsim Singh did it there. It was great.
But I think like that's like that also. Thank you for this film in that way, because I feel like it made other directors go, this is so beautiful. I could do this, but make a better story. Because I think like look at Dune. I mean, like you just said, Dune is very similar in a lot of ways as far as stylistically, especially the Envo Dunes. They are stylistically like visual paintings. I mean, visual paintings, moving paintings. And that's, I think, what I see in this film that makes me go, I don't hate it. I probably won't watch it again. And I'm sad by that, because I thought it was, again, like I've said multiple times, I think it is a beautiful, beautiful movie. I wanted to be swept away in the story, but there was just nothing that was bringing me into that story.
It just never grabbed
even the
you.
kid wasn't even. I was like, I don't even care about this kid. She's kind of, I mean, whatever. She's like, she's not really all that interesting.
No. It's not a good performance, and there's never anything interesting
like
about
she
who
always
she is.
feels like she is uncomfortable. Like she doesn't even look like she's wants to be on the set. So it's like I'm just not convinced. You know, those are the things that were bringing me out of the movie in general, and then the pacing was kind of all over the place.
So another film, I just remembered, this was one that it reminded me of, and you kind of brought it back, is Hero with Jet Li. Have you ever seen Hero?
Oh, yeah.
Hero is so amazing. And
House of Flying Daggers.
Oh, my God.
Both of those
House of Flying Daggers is great. The thing I loved about Hero is when Jet Li is there at the Emperor, and he's talking about how he had killed the folks, and the Emperor keeps letting him get a little bit closer as he's telling this, and that premise, maybe that's one we cover someday. One of the interesting things about that film is that every time Jet Li told the truth, the film didn't pop or have as much color or have as much stylized as the places where he is telling a lie and he's telling the fantastical part of it.
Oh, yeah.
Because then it gets super stylized. The color gets really vibrant and brilliant. They integrate some of the high speed, slow motion stuff into there. So things are sweeping and beautiful petals fall from trees and all of this.
Totally.
It's so beautiful. And it's kind of at the end where you realize, oh, this journey that I just took, here's where he's lying, here's where he's telling the truth. And this was all about like getting up here closer and closer to the Emperor to try to kill him. And it was so great. Yeah.
Such a good movie.
And so I think that's a decade before The Fall. I think that's isn't that a 1996 film?
No.
98, somewhere in there?
Hero and
so Hero was 2006. House of Flying Daggers was 2000. What did I just say? 2002, 2004. So somewhere in there.
Yeah.
So yeah.
all around the same time. So there was all these films that were being made with this like sweeping, epic storytelling. That's why this kind of probably falls flat. And then like there was The Curse of the Golden Flower.
That's actually a good
point. That
was,
I mean, to go up against those films, I mean, this was like that high, that was, I want to say like that was an era that we were having in Hollywood where we were doing a bunch of, bringing a bunch of the like Chinese
and Hong Kong filmmakers who, and you had mentioned, Chow Yun-fat, who I just absolutely adore. I fell in love with him with an American film, and then it was like, holy cow, Chow Yun-fat's got all these other films that he was doing long before then. So this whole like Hong Kong Chinese filmmaker
this was a
world
like a
that was out
halcyon,
there.
essentially, right?
Yes,
For
absolutely.
it, like versus, and then having this film come out, and it's again. So I just can't talk enough about how like this is probably one of the most beautiful films I've seen in a while.
I will agree with that.
And that's why I was so sad. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
This is not good, but it's
Yeah.
so pretty. Again, like you look at the movie poster and you have this like Salvador Dali painting at the beginning and you're just like,
yeah.
so disappointing.
Yeah, and I'm
disappointed.
But
I thought it was. I would actually say I hated Uncle Boone.
Me. Uncle Boone me. Yeah.
Not Bun Me. Uncle Boone Me. I hated that movie. That was terrible, and it was not as expensive as this one, but it was but still, it was not a good movie. This movie had that like it just didn't hit it. Yeah. What a bummer.
Yeah, it's
I don't know what to put those kind of films in what kind of category, because it's like, am I ever going to rewatch it? Probably not. It's probably falls in the same realm for me as like Inception, and it didn't put me to sleep, but I feel like I went to sleep because it was like so thin.
Well, I will tell you this.
Yeah.
Even though this film did not land for me, even though it's not made for me, this film, it was clearly passionate for Tarsim Singh.
Right.
20 years in the making for him to be able to do it. And this was a big swing. This was a big swing. Even though if it didn't land for me. If he's completely satisfied and happy with it, and this is prior to kind of like the world of like a lot of Rotten Tomato reactions. When you look on IMDb, there's a whole bunch of people that are like, this is 10 out of 10. This is fantastic. It's like, we're just not the same folks. So.
I feel like maybe I'm missing something. Maybe I'm not intellectual enough to see further in. I don't know.
It's just, things just land differently for people, but it's a big swing. And
I wasn't swept away in the story at all.
And I wasn't either, but I will champion the big swing.
Yeah, sure.
For the safe stuff, because I've seen some. There's a film I watched a few years back. I love Taraji P. Henson. I think she's a phenomenal actor. And I watched a film with her in it, and I was so grossly disappointed. And I was like, I don't even know how this thing got here. And that wasn't a big swing. That was a super safe film made by somebody who wasn't... I don't know. I don't remember all of the story behind the filmmaker behind it, but it was one of those things where it's like, it's time for her to have her name in the credits, number one on the marquee.
What movie was it?
It was, what was that? Proud Mary.
Oh.
And I walked out of that theater just so disappointed, because like, she's one of those actors, I'd watch her peel potatoes for 2 hours. Like, she's so good. Yeah. And in the film, she's good, but everything else around her is just so unacceptable. And especially for the budget, and you just never know. And that was a studio film, so there was probably like notes and manipulation. I don't remember how. I don't think that the director had been that many films into it, so they're doing a thing and they're like, well, a studio's giving me money and an opportunity, so yeah, I'm gonna go make this thing. And Taraji Henson is probably like, this is going to be my name on it. This is Hugh Jackman doing his Van Helsing movie, where that decision was like, we just got to get your name number one on there. You can't keep doing these X-Men films or something like that, where you're like 3, 4, 5 into it. Like, you got to become a star. And so you got to eat it on this garbage film to go and put your name first on the marquee. I think Taraji Henson deserved better than that. And sometimes you just, I don't know, you just do those. So it's... it's so difficult to make a movie. It's so hard.
And obviously this is even extra because like we've said multiple times, this movie took 20 years in the making.
Yeah.
And so that's the freaking tragedy of it all.
Yeah.
Is that, well, at least it's out there. He got to see his vision through.
He got to take the big
and
swing.
He has been given other work since. Mm-hmm. So
truly, he got bigger budgets. This was.
I mean, he did Immortals. I don't know if I don't know if I remembered this film. I feel like I can't remember if I've seen it or not. There was a time where there was like a bunch of Greek movies, and I was like, yeah.
There was, yeah.
And so I think that kind of fell in that range too.
Yeah.
So that's maybe why it's kind of forgettable as well. And then, for me, it's his movie it's going to be great to me is The Cell.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah. The Immortals was kind of the same way. I didn't go and see it. I remember seeing the trailer for it, and I didn't know about The Fall. And I just remember seeing it. It was like, man, this just looks like a 300 ripoff. Because it was around that time.
Yeah, exactly.
And it was like, this is all just like style and no substance. It's going to be like slow-mo shots and high contrast and all of this stuff. I don't know if I saw it,
honestly.
And I didn't. I've never seen it because also at the same time, 300 was what it was, even though that was supposed to be happening in the Greek world and all of this. You've got people who are clearly not Greeks who are starring in all of this stuff. But then by the time I got to the Immortals, it's like, okay, come on. How many more white guys do I need to see who are playing people from like either the Near East or Greece or something like that?
Mediterranean characters.
Yeah, there was another film in there that I think was like Gods of Egypt that was done by the director of The Crow.
Bad.
It was so bad with a huge budget and big special effects and all this stuff. And it was so bad. And, but it was like during that whole run of films that were like that.
Well, ultimately, we watched The Fall, and
we did.
Now we know why. No.
Yeah.
I mean, there was multiple falls, and I think that's probably why it was called this. I mean, he jumped off the thing, the little girl fell, and the little girl fell twice, and so did he. So
yeah. And the guy who is our little storyteller trying to drag our girl through this thing is our protagonist, and I don't know if or our antagonist, excuse me. He's ultimately kind of the bad guy because he's being so bad and manipulative to her. But I don't know if we're supposed to feel sympathy for him at some point in time because of all of this.
Part of my problem, I think.
I don't feel that he ever like really course corrects or feel bad at the end when he's like trying to kill off all the characters and all of this. He's just trying to show how bad he is to. For some reason, I'm like, I don't know what the motivation is right now. Like
self-depreciation. I
couldn't unalive myself with the pills. So
he's trying to unalive himself.
Yeah.
So he's going to self-implode everything around him.
I'm going to wreck your childhood and make you hate me and create a separation between us because I'm such a hollow piece of a person that I have nothing left, but I'm not going to do it in an interesting way. I'm just going to have the gruesome death of all of our characters and that has no meaning. No, I mean, and that's probably some of it too. Like it's so beautiful, and I'm watching. It's like this is a beautiful shot. This is a beautiful thing, and I don't know. And I guess there is this idea of like there's the fantasy and the fact that he's making up the whole story. You mentioned Shutter Island, and it's the same way. I remember watching Shutter Island, and it's like, oh my goodness, like. All of this stuff, and it's like, okay, I get it. The editing and the gaps and the jumps and all this stuff is because we are in his mind and he's just skipping around and doing stuff. Okay, that's fine. And that's a big swing of a movie too. That's a tough one. But with this one, it was just like, man, I can't tell what you want here.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel frenetic or chaotic enough to represent something.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem organized enough for you to try to give me metaphor. I don't feel nobody's learning anything. I actually felt like, oh, he's just wrapping this shit up. Like, let's just get this movie done.
Let's keep it around 2 hours. Right. I think it's like 1 hour and 57 minutes or something like that.
Yeah. I gotta close this thing out.
Woo,
Lee Pace has a audition for The Hobbit. We got to get him out.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, Martin.
Okay, we can wrap this one up as well.
What are we going to watch next?
We've got ourselves our next pick, and it's yours.
Well, I figured I would go back into our kaiju roots again.
Yes.
So Shin
Godzilla
this is. Just got a re-release on 4K, and I thought, this is one of my favorite Godzillas. And I feel like the subject matter is still really topical, and I just feel like it's a good time to bring it back to one of our roots.
I agree, and I need to give this film not only another watch but but a better watch. There were aspects of culture I didn't get.
Yep.
And now I'm farther along in my kaiju lore. I think it's going to land a lot better with me. So I'm super excited to be able to do that one.
Right.
And it got the 4K release, but it's also, did it get released back into theaters
on a couple
of
of theaters? It's also in theaters
screens?
right now still.
Oh,
Maybe we could try to catch it in the theater. We'll try. We're really busy.
Yeah, it's true.
But maybe we'll see if it can happen.
I'm so excited for this one. That's a really good choice.
Thank you.
And as always, I am so thankful that you are here doing this.
Yeah, me too. I always have fun. Even if we're bagging on seeing movies.
It's all the things that I say when the microphone ain't hot.
Right? But thank you.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to talking about Shin Godzilla. That'll be fun.
Awesome. Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. And as always, folks, thank you for checking us out. You can download this in all those normal places. You can also watch us on YouTube. Again, we don't have a Patreon. We don't take any money. This is us doing it for free. So if you like us, if you enjoy any of this in any way, please feel free to like or subscribe. Please feel free to comment. Check us out on Instagram, where we are engaging there.
Well, yeah, and eventually we'll take recommendations and things like that. But right now, we want to get you guys talk to us about your favorite films. I always love to hear. Tell me a ghost story. Tell me your favorite film.
Yeah. Ooh, ghost story. We'll have to look into some films with that then, too.
Yeah.
Cool. So with that, Gretchen, I will see you next time.
See you next time.